Some classmates from my town started a band called the Bends. They would perform at Fred's, and although it struck me as weird considering they're engineering students, the concert was amazing as the Bends sang about personal issues and most surprisingly past heartbreaks. I thought it was very courageous and powerful in the way they expressed their previous struggles. Knowing that they are usually reserved people, I did not assume that they felt comfortable showing vulnerability in such a large crowd. That night, I realized what was so empowering about their performance. What I originally mistook for bravery was, in fact, emotional sensitivity conveyed through their lyrics. As a commuter, arriving at LSU in the morning can be daunting. At times, you feel like no one can relate to you. Um, Seeing people in my surroundings resonating with words that you only usually hear in your head felt relieving. Looking around, preconceived notions about LSU gatherings cleared from my mind. I realized that courage doesn't always present as a tough act some people tend to put up, and that real bravery can be the willingness to sing in front of fellow peers about your last relationship. On October 11th, Vanderbilt played against the Tigers. Uh, and I attended the tailgate that preceded the game with my boyfriend. I had not gone to a tailgate since last semester, since I usually do not enjoy the environment that these celebrations take place in. I was told by my boyfriend earlier this year that a girl who I had no connection to had spoken horrendously about me to him through a drunk dial. And her friend Ruth, who I am not remarkably close to, told us to come out from New Orleans with her boyfriend, who is close to mine. Um, Once the girl started acting weirdly through her words and body language, I pointed this out to our shared friend, and she said not to worry, but that girl has some issues. Her behavior confused me, as I later found out she also has a boyfriend who would then fart on me in a room of silence and tension. The atmosphere became much more tense as she started started to use racial and sexual slurs. I felt uncomfortable with this language and felt I was not the most woke person ever. Maybe I wondered how these words can be uttered after middle school and how normalized this can be. I also thought about how I could be complicit through my silence in allowing these types of behaviors to occur. The third event was another tailgate, the Texas A&M game. I originally did not want to go, but Ruth reassured me, saying it would be nothing like the last game. I decided to speak more and even directed friends who were all too familiar um, to parking spaces at an old apartment complex that I lived at last fall semester. Being back there felt comfortable for once, as I opened up about how a next door neighbor tried to break into my unit during finals week while armed. While speaking about this, uh, occurrence, I felt much more relief surrounded by people who I had originally distanced myself from after high school. Shortly after I mentioned the reason why I had moved away from Baton Rouge, the girl mentioned that she has a stepmother she dislikes. I could not help but wonder if her behavior was motivated by fears she has felt by this figure in her life. Um, I shared my experiences with her about my stepfather as I saw her in a different light and with less judgment. It was unexpected, but I'm glad that from that discomfort, growth emerged. As I looked around, the same sentiments at Fred's came rushing back. And as a member of my community, I recognize that although we may not know the issues that shape people, we can only hope to understand them through true bravery.